Hey, Philosophix here, and welcome to another video about being an ALT. And today I want to talk about how to become an ALT. And I don't know everything, but I know quite a bit. And I'm going to share with you my experiences of how I became one. And hopefully you'll find it useful. I'm going to put as much detail as I can. So hopefully for those seriously becoming an ALT, this will be like a huge step forward. So let's get started. Okay, so I want to start with the prerequisites. We got the 12 years of education in a primarily English-speaking country. So anywhere where English is their main language, the USA, Australia, UK, Ireland, they should be okay. So obviously if they're hiring English teachers, they want you to at least know the language. And something to note, Australia, UK, Ireland, so like they teach American English, so the companies and the schools kind of prefer if you tried to work on your accent. When I say accent, I know, the Americans come to the UK or whatever, they have an accent too, but they want you to speak in an American accent as much as possible. So I know maybe in Australia or UK, they don't emphasize their R's as strongly as the Americans do, but they want you to. So I don't know, like water, just stuff like that. Of course, it's not necessary, but they will probably push that onto you a little bit. Just a forewarning on my end. I've seen it from my own company. Next, so of those 12 years, they want 4 of those years from college. And so you need a bachelor's degree to become an ALT at least. I don't know why. The thing is though, it doesn't matter what your major was in college. So as long as you have a 4-year degree, because English is used in every degree, right? So yeah, I guess that kind of clears a lot of people anyway. So moving on. Paperwork, you're gonna need proof that you graduated, and you're gonna need I don't know, stuff for filling out a visa. I'll talk more about the visa stuff later. It's in the process after you get through the interview, which is the next part. So your interview, I put that in quotes because it's kind of, at least for me, very simple. It was ridiculously easy. I literally looked for a job. From day one, it took 2 weeks to get the job finalized. I went through 2 interviews on Skype, each one for about 10 minutes and done. So what are some things they asked me, just in case you're wondering? Do you like to sing? That is a big one here. And I'm gonna make more LT videos, so I'll do videos on songs that you will definitely, no matter where you are, will need to know or will learn anyway. They're all fairly easy. So yeah, I'll talk about that later, but basically, hey, I like to sing. That's what you want to say, even if it's not true. And you don't even have to sing at every day you're supposed to sing with the kids, but you can kind of cut that out if you don't like it. It's up to you, you're the teacher, right? So anyway, crowds. How good are you in speaking in front of people? And when they say that, it's just, how good are you in front of speaking in front of a bunch of 9-year-olds? So, well, at least for me, because I'm in elementary school. If you're in middle school, they're just slightly bigger looking kids, but either way, you're just talking in front of kids. That's basically what they're asking. Experience. So what experience do you have teaching? That's something I was asked. I just told them, I help my friends with Japanese and I would help them do some translation stuff and blah, blah, blah. And, it's really unnecessary. You don't really need experience for this job because no one's going to come in here with, when they ask teaching experience, they're looking for maybe certain certifications for teaching or anything, or maybe with your college, your major, teaching majors are super welcome here, but it's entirely unnecessary. So don't be oh my God, I have no experience. They really don't care. So next we got Japanese. Do you know any Japanese? And if you say oh, I know nothing, it doesn't influence you that much. But if you know Japanese, they'll give you maybe another part of an interview in Japanese, just kind of test you out. They did that with me. And that's good because that's always a bonus. To know more Japanese, and experience is always a bonus. Then again, if you said I have no experience and I don't know Japanese, I'm pretty sure you'd still get in anyway. If you do know either or if you have either or, then you're guaranteed this job pretty much. So let's see, situation. I forgot why I wrote that. Let me skip that and see if I remember. Where do you want to be situated? So you usually get kind of like two types of areas. You get the city or the countryside, or what they call the inaka. And I'm kind of in that like in between zone, so I'm not too dissatisfied. There are some buildings. It's closer to Inaka though, because there's really nothing here. Um, they ask you this not as like a qualification, like, oh, you want to be in the city? Well, too bad. Now you failed the interview or anything. It's just to see if they can situate you in a place where you want. If everyone who comes in says, yeah, I'm gonna want a city, and everyone says that, then it's gonna be really difficult on them. I said both, either or is fine. So I kind of got this job. The advantage of being in the Inaka though is rent is super cheap and your lifestyle will be super cheap, but you're just kind of away from the main stuff. However, if you're in like dead middle of Tokyo, your rent will be super high and you won't, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to live on just the salary which you came here with. So, or I mean, the one you get here. Something to think about. Okay, why do you want to be a teacher? This shouldn't be an overly complicated question and answer kind of thing. It's not going to be like, oh, to affect the kids' lives from here on out and hopefully the new generation of blah, blah, blah. No, just be like, I like teaching kids and it's fun. And I just, yeah, just something simple, very simple. Still don't know why I wrote situation. Why did I write that? Anyway, so if I ever remember, I'll talk about it again. I don't think it was that important. So that's just a prereq. The website I use to actually find a job is gaijinpot.com. If you want to know, just gaijin is foreigner, pot is pot. So we are like pot. Anyway, go to this website. You will have to fill out some information for your profile, but then you can reuse that profile over and over to like one-click apply for jobs basically, and there's a bunch posted. So that should be really easy. And of course there are other websites. I just used that one because it was really popular. So I'm gonna talk about next the, well, I guess I could talk more about the difference. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna talk about the two routes, I guess, of being an ALT. So one moment, please, as I erase all this and write something else down here. Hey, so if you're wondering why I just suddenly jumped into my room, it's because after I finished that last clip, I had to run to the nearby middle school because I forgot I had an x-ray to take today for a part of my health check I did. And all the teachers had to do it too. But the cool thing though was that a lot of my students from last year that graduated, all of them pretty much went there. So I got to, talk and see a lot of them again. It was pretty cool, see them like playing sports and stuff because it was kind of after school too. Got to talk with a bunch of them, see how they've grown. Not really, it hasn't really been that much time, but either way, it was pretty awesome. And right, so I don't have the blackboard anymore, obviously, so I'm going to just kind of show you the rest of what I wanted to tell you on a piece of paper and pencil. I'm going to talk about the dilemma in choosing where you want to work. Here you go. Okay, so before I start this video clip, I'm going to apologize for the fact that I'm on a piece of paper, but I'll try and make this as logical and easy to follow as possible so that it makes up for the fact that I'm on this piece of paper, the poor man's blackboard. So here is the dilemma. Shake, 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 zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. No problems. Okay. Before I explain the dilemma, I will introduce you to these 3 ways of working in Japan as an ALT. Your first way, the famous, the most sought after JET program. We say JET program because it is a program sponsored by the Japanese government. To get into the JET program, you have to go through a very long and rigorous interview process. It really sucks is what I'm trying to say. But for your rewards, you're paid $2,500 to $3,000 a month. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good. And I think, depending on where you live, they'll pay for your housing, which means you keep it, which is awesome. Next, you have what everyone else is doing. Private companies. These are businesses But the interviews are very easy, super short. As I said, my interview only took 2 weeks, and then I got into the job. Yay. The pay is lower though, and I'm gonna give you like an average of what I think you actually receive in these companies because I give you the lowest of the low as like very rare situations in which you probably willingly know that you're being paid that much before you enter. So you're actually gonna be paid about 2,300. Jet program, you're probably gonna be paid like 2,800. So that's actually a huge chunk of money considering the fact that that's only 1 month. So you get about $500 per month times 12. Yeah. That's the differences. And then you got direct hire, which is pretty much like the hybrid between the two because you are working for the government, kind of like Jet, except you work for the government in the area you work in and you lose the company. So, I mean, I'm in a special situation because I'm actually a direct hire too, but my contract was offered to me by the company, which was offered from the government. So the government's like, hey, let's give your company the contract and then whoever you send to us will hire. So I'm here, but then the company helps me. So they kind of facilitate a little bit, not as much as the people who actually work for the company. So it's a lot less hassle. It's awesome. And lately, if you go on Gaijin Pot, which I didn't see direct hire contracts when I first started this job, but I heard it's becoming more prevalent. Usually they'll probably hire people with more Japanese skill, or maybe they'll actually go out of their way to hire people with experience or some sort of certification in teaching. So yeah. So I want to talk a little bit more about the JET program because it's pretty intertwined in the dilemma. So they have a long interview process, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. When I say rigorous, I mean pain in the butt. Because you have to turn in a lot of paperwork for step one. You got to get 2 recommendation letters from, I guess, impressive people. You have to write an essay to show off your English skills. I think you also probably have to write something in Japanese too if you want to add in that little bonus of, hey, I'm qualified. You got to turn in paperwork for teaching certificates you've earned, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, then you got to wait like 2 months to get that confirmation either you got in or not for the second interview. So I guess the first part is a screening. Then you get to interview in live person. And here's the thing. They're not set up in a lot of places. So if you don't live anywhere near where they do the interviews, then you have to like fly there or drive for days sometimes, depending on how far away you live and the closest one. And yeah, they do pay a decent amount though. So if you do get in, it'll be worth it. But if you don't get in, well, man, that really sucks. So the dilemma is this magical number 4 here. I mean, just April, but April is when schools in Japan start, mostly. So private companies just kind of bend their whole interview process and their hiring process so that ALTs can start working by April. So they start looking for people in December, and then maybe up till January, or maybe not so much as early February, I don't think. But, within December to January-ish, they'll look for you. Then you get to do all the paperwork after the super short interview. And when you turn that in, you have to wait like a month or so to get your visa. So once you get your visa, though, you're ready. You can just go. And so about mid-March, maybe I got here March 15th, then they'll give you about a week's worth of training for most companies, just because, you need the basics of the basics at least. So that's what they equipped you with, but you still have no idea what you're doing, which I'll cover in other videos. And then you just start like almost immediately. The JET program, though, I don't know how their schools work. Not in the JET program, but they don't finish the interview process until or you don't get to hear back from them after you do the second interview, like the one in person, until after April, I think in maybe June or something. And the problem with that is, of course, if these companies who are like the only alternative stop hiring and they stop giving out visas and you don't get into the JET program, you have to wait a whole year to either try to get into the JET program again or a private company. So that really sucks. And yes, there's a lot of people trying to get into the JET program. and that just means a lot of competition. The odds of getting into the jet program are unknown because their grading criteria for their candidates are a little bit, well, a little bit of a mystery because no one really knows. People who are more qualified than other people still don't beat some people that just don't seem qualified at all. I have no idea. It's not To me it wasn't worth the risk, which is why I went with the private company. But like I said, because of their long interview process, but the fact that they're so amazing makes jet program such a gamble. But like, is it worth it or not? To me, no. The private company, I was like, you know what? I just want to be in Japan, so I just chose private company. Bam, I'm like in Japan instantly. So that's the dilemma. I don't know what else I want to talk about. I'm gonna stop this clip and then think about it. But if I missed something, just let me know in the comments below. Hey, so there we go. Hey, so decided that I rambled long enough, so I'm just gonna end the video now. If there's anything I haven't mentioned, I'll talk about it in the next video. One thing I wanted to talk about though before I ended is someone asked me, "Hey, are Asian American ALTs kind of, by the kids treated a little differently or kind of?" Yeah, we are a little bit. Very little, almost non-existent. From my personal experience, which is very limited, could just I don't know, but the thing is though, the kids are kind of dumb, so like what they see in the media is, oh, white people, and then like America just slapped across them. I'm like trying to explain to them, no, those are German descent and like they just have no clue. But it's very rarely mentioned. The kids will still treat you just like every other ALT. They don't think with all that prejudice, or they don't think with like any form of like, oh, but you're not, and then just get like obsessed about it or anything. Today when I visited the middle school, sounds like, or some of the kids were actually the older ones too. So this is like 3 years after whatever the highest grade I'm teaching. They're still kind of the exact same way. They're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "America." He's like, "Wow, you don't look very American." I'm like, "Well, I was born and raised there." So they won't understand the concept of what even makes someone. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just say all the way probably until college or even longer than that. There's so many ignorant Japanese people who have no idea what it means. Because, well, to be fair though, they don't. They live in a homogenous society, right? So don't expect your kids to be all like, "Oh, I understand that you're all immigrants." Or anyway, leave a comment below if you have any questions. Leave a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more. Um, yeah, that's about it. All right, see you.